What is up, church? I hope you guys are doing well. Um, this is Phil here, bringing your next installment of the Ephesians Devos. We are celebrating the gospel together, and I'm so glad that we are. Recently, we got to celebrate the resurrection of Christ on Easter Sunday. Such a wonderful service, and I'm so glad that we got to celebrate together. And my prayer for you as we continue this Ephesians series is that you are continuing to grow in your knowledge and understanding of the love of Christ, and that you would know the fullness of God. This is actually a prayer that we're going to see in this passage. So if you will, go ahead and pause the video and read Ephesians 3:14 through 21. And as you're reading, go ahead and ask these questions. Who's talking? What is he talking about? What is he asking? What does this reveal about the nature of Christ? What does this reveal about the power of God? Go ahead and pause the video and ask those questions. Hopefully you did that. If you didn't, pause the video now and go do that, because that's important. We can't talk about this passage if you haven't even read the passage. I'm not going to read through the whole passage with you, you know what I'm saying? But a couple of things I noticed about this passage, and maybe you noticed it too. Go ahead and comment, actually. What did you notice from this passage? What stuck out to you? What's a challenge for you? Go ahead and comment that in this passage, or in the comments from the passage. A couple things I noticed. One is that this is a prayer. In the middle of his letter, Paul is taking time to voice a prayer, to write down a prayer for the church in Ephesus. Maybe you're like me, and sometimes you're like, I don't really know what to pray for the church. Maybe this is a template for you. Honestly, that's what I'm going to use it as. This is a template that we can use if we're ever stuck. We're like, well, I want to pray for Crossroads Christian Church. I want to pray for the global church. How should I do that? Here's some different things you can pray for. Specifically in here, Paul is praying for the strengthening of the believers' faith in the gospel, that they would grow in their knowledge and understanding of the love of Jesus Christ. Specifically, Paul is praying that they would not stay at a head level Jesus, that would move into a heart level Jesus, and eventually the natural outcome of that is that it works out into their service through their hands. What I've realized, and I haven't been a Christian for long, is that a lot of times we stick with a head gospel. And what I mean by that is we know a lot about God, we know a lot about Jesus, but we fail to move that to our hearts to be transformed to where we actually know Christ. There's a difference between knowing about Jesus and actually knowing Jesus. They're not at odds, I don't think, actually at all. I think they're both necessary and useful and important. But if we have only, if we're stopping at we only know about Jesus, we only know about God, we haven't taken that step towards transformation. My challenge for you maybe today is that you would take that step towards transformation, that you would pray to God and ask, like, God, I don't know the fullness of you. I think maybe I only know part of you. Can you help me know the fullness of you and move this head knowledge into my heart? Maybe that's a challenge for you. The next thing, really the last thing I see in this passage that sticks out to me that I would like to challenge you with is are you praying you-sized prayers, or are you praying God-sized prayers? Something we see about the character of God, and I'm not sure if Paul just kind of threw this in there, or if he intentionally wanted to make a point about this, but something that we see is that he's asking, and he's giving credit to him being God, who is able to do far more abundantly than all we ask or think, according to the power at work within us. That reveals something about the character of God I wish we could tap into more as a church. I'm talking about Crossroads Christian Church. I'm talking about the global church. As Christians, often I fear that we pray us-sized prayers. And the result of us-sized prayers is us-sized stuff. I don't think that's what God has for us. When I look at the power of God, where he spoke everything into existence out of nothing, I see God as being far more powerful than we often give him credit for. Maybe it's that person in your family who doesn't know Jesus. Maybe it's the kingdom work that you think that'll never happen because it's just, we've never done that, or it's too big, or XYZ. Stop it. The God of the universe is the one you're praying to. And what I see in that passage is that he is in the business of making the impossible possible. He's in the business of doing far more abundantly than we can ask or think. So take advantage of that. Pray God-sized prayers that only He can answer. And the only explanation you have for when His answer is yes is that He answered yes. Not that you did anything special, not that your friends did anything special, not even that this church did anything special, but that God Himself showed up in a way that only He can. Does your prayer life need refined in that way? I know mine does, and so that's the challenge I'm taking away from this. Continue to ask those questions as you read this passage. Continue to dive deeper into a knowledge and understanding of the love of Christ and a knowledge and understanding of the gospel. I love you guys. I will see you soon. Have a good day.